The Claude Code team just shipped a new Playground plugin, and essentially gives us a whole new way to interact with Claude. Instead of typing instructions, Claude can now build you an interactive tool. Sliders, click regions, approve, reject buttons, tailored to whatever you're working on. You interact with it visually, and the Playground generates new instructions to Claude for you. Claude builds the interface, you give feedback through it. Let me show you how it works. Hey, Alex here from GritAI Studio. Today we're looking at the Playground plugin, one of the official plugins from Anthropic's curated marketplace. This one is different from most plugins. It doesn't add a slash command or an MCP server. It teaches Claude a new skill, the ability to generate self-contained, interactive HTML playgrounds. Single file apps that open in your browser with controls on one side, a live preview on the other, and a prompt output at the bottom that you can copy back into Claude. Think of it as an on-the-fly artifact built by Claude, but running locally, fully self-contained, and designed specifically for exploration, feedback, and configuration. Or you can think of it this way. Claude builds custom interfaces to capture your feedback, visual tools that translate your interactions back into precise instructions. Let me show you how to install it, and then we'll build a few things live. Installation is straightforward. The Playground plugin is in Anthropic's official marketplace, which is already available in Claude Code by default. So you just run /plugin and then search for it. Or you can run this command. You might need to restart Claude after you've installed it. And that's it. No marketplace to add first. The official one is pre-configured. So this is a skill-based plugin, which means that Claude automatically knows when to use it based on your request. You can ask for a playground, an interactive explorer, or a visual tool for something, and Claude picks up the skill. Let me show you what that looks like in practice. So before we demo, let me explain the architecture really quickly. Every playground Claude generates follows the same pattern. One, it builds a single HTML file. All CSS and JavaScript is inline. There's no external dependencies, no CDN links, no build step. Just one file that you can open, share, or save. Two, every playground has this 3-panel layout. There's an interactive control on one side with sliders, drop-downs, color pickers, toggles, you name it. And then there's a live preview on the other side that updates instantly as you change anything. And then finally, there's a prompt output panel at the bottom. Yeah, so 3, the prompt output, that's really a key part of this innovation. It's not a value dump, it generates natural language instructions that you can copy back into Claude. And it only mentions what you changed from the defaults. Claude built the interface to understand what you want, now it speaks it back. The plugin ships with 6 templates out of the box. The design playground, the data explorer, the concept map, there's a document critique, then you have the diff review, and there's a code map. So let's try a few of these out. Could you explain our code base with a code map playground where I can ask questions about specific parts of our code? Now you can explore and ask questions to dig deeper. Select one of the nodes and say, I don't fully understand this one. Here's another example. I want to optimize our Claude MD file, but I'm scared of removing useful stuff. Could you review it and then use the document critique playground, highlighting all suggestions so that I can approve, reject, or make comments before we actually update the file? Or you can just ask it to give you inline suggestions that you can approve, reject, or comment. Claude will try to use the templates, but if you ask for something a bit outside of these, it will go off and create custom playgrounds for us, which opens up some really cool use cases. I guess the original idea was to use playgrounds to feed back to Claude, but it clearly has a ton of different use cases. I see a lot of people are using playgrounds to create their own interactive learning experiences. Let's try out another one. We've applied quite a few database migrations recently, and I'm getting a bit lost here. Could you use the Data Explorer playground to help me navigate some of our data? A lot of clever people have already come up with some really cool examples on X. Someone even built a way to send the feedback straight back to Claude using a neat little MCP trick, essentially removing the need to copy and paste. In particular, I love this one for image generation feedback loops, essentially allowing you to pass precise annotations back to Nana Banana as it improves the images. Or this one here, where they built an animation playground, allowing her to explore all sorts of interactions. Really cool. Okay, let's try making our own custom playground. Let's start with something that I feel shows off one key use case for the playground plugin: visual feedback. Create an image annotation playground. I'll paste in a screenshot of my app's dashboard. I want to click on areas, draw rectangles around problems, and add feedback comments to each region. Watch what Claude does. It's generating a complete annotation tool. Canvas for the image, drawing tools, a comment panel, and it's all in a single HTML file. And here it is. I've loaded a screenshot of a dashboard that I'm working on. Let me walk through the interface. So here we have the main canvas, the image with an overlay for drawing. I can click and drag and draw rectangles around any region. On the sidebar, we see a list of the annotations. Each one shows the region that I selected and has a text field for my feedback. And then down here at the bottom, we have the prompt output panel, which you'll recognize in every playground. Let me draw a box around this icon here and type, let's upgrade these icons to something more interesting. Now I'll mark this here, add a mouse over showing the actual tools here. Okay, watch the prompt output. It structures all of my feedback, annotated with the position on the screen, organized like an actual instruction that we can now copy and paste back into Claude, or add it to a GitHub issue if we prefer that. I didn't describe where anything was, I pointed at it. You can of course combine this with voice as well, and you can expand and add more functionality to your playground. The playground captured my feedback and translated it into location-aware instructions. Of course, this is a bit of a simplified example, but yeah, you could actually build anything with the help of Claude and playgrounds. So Claude actually built me an interface to give feedback that I couldn't easily give just through words. I pointed, I commented, and the playground translated that into a prompt that Claude can act on. This pairs beautifully with image generation, like we saw in the Nana Banana example. But this way of working applies to so many things. Generate a mockup, load it into an annotation playground, point at what needs to change, copy the prompt back, visual output, visual feedback, and a refined prompt. The cool thing now is that we can give feedback and ask for more features in our playground. Tweak it and tune it. And once we're happy with it, we simply ask Claude to turn this into a reusable playground skill for us. Okay, let's try one last build. I think this one is very cool as it's quite unexpected. Create a concept map playground for understanding the Claude Code plugin system. Include concepts like plugins, skills, agents, hooks, MCP servers, marketplaces, and how they relate to each other. Do proper research in the official docs before you build the playground. This uses the concept map template, and it's built on a canvas element with actual physics simulation. The canvas area here shows nodes that you can drag around, connected by labeled edges showing relationships. Plugins contain skills, skills uses skill files, hooks trigger tool use, and so on. On the sidebar, each concept has a knowledge level toggle that cycles through 3 states. The green one, no, I understand this. Amber, fuzzy, I've heard about it, but I'm not confident. Red one, unknown, this is new to me. Now, let me drag these around to organize them. Let's mark plugins and skills. We know those. Hooks. Okay, let's put that as unknown. Now look at the prompt output. Now we have a targeted learning prompt. Instead of saying explain the plugin system and getting generic overview, you've told Claude exactly what you know, what you're shaky on, and what's brand new. The response you get back is going to be far more useful. There's nothing stopping you from also asking it to create an interactive learning playground on the back of that feedback. I guess it's fair to say that this isn't a prompt helper. It's a knowledge state capture tool. You're telling Claude exactly where you are, and it generates a prompt that meets you there. There are so many use cases you can apply to something like this, such as scope mapping a new project, decomposing tasks, or mapping out the API surfaces you need to learn, and so on. If you're lost for inspiration, just ask Claude. What are 10 brilliant playgrounds we could build together? I briefly mentioned the 6 templates already, but let me walk you through them quickly. The design playground provides sliders for UI component configuration, spacing, color, typography, shadows. It's great for exploring design direction quickly without describing them all in words. The Data Explorer makes it easy to build queries for SQL, APIs, regex, pipelines, and so on. You construct queries visually, and it generates the specification for you. Then you have the document critique template. Here you can paste in a document and get a review interface with line-by-line suggestions, like we used for the Claude MD file. Each suggestion gets approve, reject, or comment buttons, and the prompt output only includes your approved suggestions and comments. It's great for reviewing specs, README files, or skill files, or Claude MD files. Then we have the diff review template. It's the same idea, but for code diffs. It renders a proper diff view with green-red line highlighting, and you can add inline comments on any line. Outputs a structured code review prompt. It's really useful for reviewing commits or pull requests visually before writing feedback. Then finally, there's a code map template. This is an SVG-based architecture diagram. Nodes represent components with file paths. Edges show relationships like data flow, tool calls, and dependencies. You click components to add annotations. The prompt output includes your comments with full context. Think of it as a visual way to annotate and discuss architecture. All 6 follow the same core pattern: controls, live preview, prompt output, and a copy button. A few things that I've learned using this plugin so far. 1, you can customize any playground after it's generated. It's just an HTML file. If you want to add more controls, tweak the layout, or change the dark theme, just ask Claude to modify the file. And a pro tip is you can also combine it with the front-end design skill to make it even more awesome. 2, presets are your friend. Where relevant, Playground typically generates 3 to 5 named presets. If not, you can ask for it explicitly. Start by clicking through those before you touch individual controls. Often one preset gets you 80% there. Number 3, the prompt output is designed to be context complete. You can paste it into a completely different Claude session, and it should make sense. 4, the concept map template uses force-directed layout, a physics simulation. You can hit the auto layout button if your nodes get tangled up. It will snap them back into a readable arrangement. 5, if none of the 6 templates fit your use case exactly, just ask Claude to create a playground anyway. The skill will pick the closest template and adapt. 6, playgrounds work beautifully with visual outputs from other tools, like the Nana Banana example. Think about what that unlocks: visual feedback on visual output. Alright, there you have it. The Playground plugin is an official Anthropic-based plugin that generates interactive, self-contained HTML tools. Every playground follows the same pattern: controls, live preview, prompt output, in a single HTML file with 0 dependencies. Playgrounds are just HTML files, fully portable, shareable, and modifiable. The real shift here isn't better prompts, it's a new interaction loop. Claude builds an interface tailored to your task. You give feedback through it, clicks, sliders, approvals. The Playground translates that back into instructions that Claude understands. Visual in, text out. I hope you found this video helpful. Like and subscribe for more Claude Code videos, and do drop me a comment below about what cool use cases you've found for playgrounds. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.